Okay, sir. I hear you. Thank you for calling customer service. Thank you for coming to this counter. But you cannot be yelling at me like that. I'm sorry. Why? Okay, sir, please. I do want to help you, but you do have to be considerate of me and like my time here. Uh, I'm. Did you just ask me why you should be considerate? Okay, you know what? I am just going to call corporate quickly. Give me a minute.
'Cause life's sweet assemblages are quick to drift word away. Be still with me.
I've had many customer facing jobs. Most of them I enjoyed. I like helping others and I like interacting with people. However, there are times when I thought that the customer wasn't really being as considerate as they could have been. But that begs the question, what is being considerate? Philosophically, moral consideration happens when you take someone or something else into account. When you have a group of friends and you're all planning on how to hang out, you plan so that everyone can do it. So you take everyone's schedule into it and you all work together. But why does this moral consideration happen? In thinking about this, philosophers have come up with five different explanations. The first one is ratiocentrism. Moral consideration should be given to those who can think and act rationally. Rationally is just reasons and logic over emotion. In my time in retail, people who acted more rationally definitely were my favorite customers to help. As long as you had a valid reason to give them, they would work with you. But not all people can be rational. Infants aren't rational, some mentally ill people aren't rational. People who are desperate to get something that they need may not be rational. Are they still not deserving of moral consideration? Another explanation is anthropocentrism, the thought that people deserve moral consideration because they are biologically human. I was working in a beverage stall at the Circuit of the Americas once, and while getting this guy his drinks, we were talking about chickens, and I told him that my family probably had a dozen of them. He makes a remark that we must eat well, and I say, yeah, the eggs are great. He says, no, I meant that you must have some good chicken. I pause. It's never crossed my mind to eat our chickens, and I tell him this. He looks even more confused. The last words he says as he's turning around with his drinks in hand are, huh, why hesitate? They're just animals. A third explanation is sentientism, moral consideration because of how beings experience the world around them. I once had someone throw their drink at me. I could feel the impact of the drink, how cold it was, the yelling of the person as they threw it, whole nine yards. I, of course, had my own emotions and perceptions of the event because I could experience it. It was a very disrespectful event. The customer was allowed to stay in the store. I was fired 2 days later over a very similar instigating incident. A customer hadn't read the menu correctly and wanted to double check the price of their order. On my way out, the manager told me the customer is always right. One of my ex coworkers was punched over $5 the very next day. Fourth, biocentrism. All living things deserve consideration. Remember how I said my family has chickens? Our entire backyard is a garden. Biocentrism dictates that everything in that garden should be considered whenever we're planning for the next growing season. Everything. Some of you may be like, does that include the weeds? And yes, that would include the weeds, and the pests, and everything else that would harm the plants and food. Lastly, there's ecocentrism. All things have moral consideration until they pose a threat to the environment and the living conditions of the ecosystem. At a basic level, this works out because everyone and everything would like to live in a healthy and safe environment, and so acting in ways that harm the environment would be deeply frowned upon. But then we come across two questions. What counts as harm to the environment, and what if someone has no other choice? While I was working at a fast food chain, I had someone yell at me to remove the disposable straws because the trash was getting into the ocean and harming the turtles. The person who was yelling at me was wearing a shirt with the British Petroleum logo on it. I then served a regular who needed the disposable straws due to their disability, And they couldn't even use a metal straw either. The disposable straws were the only way that they could safely drink things. Oh boy, the customer's coming back with my manager in tow. Man, hopefully this works out. Hello, sir. How are you? Oh, sir, this yelling cannot be good for your health.
Be still with me.